All right, so I can't fully just thank you enough, Mark, because of the time that we have right here when it comes to actually see a little bit more of your mind, a little bit more of your feedback, your insights when it comes to the real estate market. And God knows how much I actually admire you for everything you have done when it comes to the Realty One
Thank you.
brand. So yeah, I definitely appreciate. I love your time when it comes to this meeting, and I think definitely a lot of agents and a lot of franchises, brokers are going to get a lot of value from this call. So it's very, very
I
important for
I
us.
appreciate that very much. Honestly, it's my honor to be here with you, Jay, and the feelings are mutual. I have tremendous respect for you and all that you've accomplished. So I'm thrilled to have this conversation with you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So for everyone who don't know at the moment, who is Mark, maybe if you can give us a little bit of your actual background, how did you start in real estate and a little bit of
Sure.
actually, so we can all have a very good understanding of where you came.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. So I actually started in real estate in 1998. Doesn't feel like it was that long ago, and I always joke that all of this white hair on my face is a result of 26 years in real estate. But I started because my family was in real estate, and they encouraged me to come and join their team and learn the business. And I wasn't really sure if it was something I was interested in doing, but I decided to give it a try. I was 24 years old at the time and got my real estate license and started selling real estate. And it just kind of my career took off. And so I was able to start to build a career. Um, Early on, I was working mostly with buyers. That was really kind of what I was trained to do. And then as my skills developed, I started working more with sellers and becoming more of a listing professional. But it was a tough way to get started in real estate. Like I think for all of us, you get started in real estate and you don't really know what you're doing. I was fortunate that I had my family to train me and teach me a little bit, but no one really hands you leads in real estate. You have to go out and create your own business. And so I had to do that myself and started out really just working with rentals. I had people that were reaching out and looking for information on finding rental properties, and I started providing lists of rental properties to potential customers. And some of those people actually were able to buy homes and started turning those into buyer leads, and the business just kind of grew from there. But I started. I like to say I was a kid. I was fairly young when I got into the business, but been doing it ever since, and sold full time for almost 17 years.
What made you actually decide to, step in real estate? I know your family was in real estate, but maybe what was the X factor that actually made your foot in the door when it comes to actually starting?
I was at kind of a transition point in my life. So I was working with an insurance company, and the company that I was working with was going to relocate. We were closing an office that we were operating and closing and moving to another location. And
Mhm.
at that point, I was looking at maybe making a change, a career change. And my father, who'd been selling real estate for a number of years, reached out and said, if you're thinking about making a change, why don't you consider getting a real estate license? If you don't like it, you obviously don't have to continue doing it. But if you do like it, it could be a great career for you and, a great pathway forward. And so I thought about it and I decided to go get my license and give it a try. And here I am 26 years later, still in the industry, and I'm doing a lot of different things than I ever thought I would be doing when I started selling real estate 26 years ago. But it really was, I was kind of at a crossroads in my life and I had to make a choice about where my career was headed. And I decided to get into real estate at that point.
It's very interesting that you say that because uh, the impact that you made right now, Mark, when it comes to the international franchises, when it comes to the all the brokers and the franchises within the US as well,
Yes.
but it's a lot of training, it's a lot of mentoring, it's a lot of putting the right path in front of you when it comes, for example, with RevUp, with all the agents, and right now that you're talking about how your father. Give you this kind of his example. Maybe if you can talk a little bit more about maybe what you saw through him, or maybe what he teaches you, like when it comes to starting in real estate.
Yes. So my both of my parents were in the business, my brother as well, but my father, what I really learned from him early on was so much about what makes you successful in any type of sales career is the level of customer service that you provide. And so he really taught me that from the very beginning was that if you provide a high level of quality service to the customer, everything else just kind of falls into place naturally. And so I really, I think my apprehension going into real estate was I didn't want to be a salesman, if you will. There was something negative about that to me. But what my father taught me was it's not really sales so much as it is service in real estate. And so I was really taught at a very early age that you need to provide a really high quality of service to your customer. And if you do so, your customers will be loyal to you. They'll refer other customers to you because of that quality experience that they provide you. And the compensation and the success and all those things really are just a natural byproduct of providing a high quality of service. And so what I came to realize through his training was really all I had to focus on was just the individual in front of me, taking really good care of them and their family and making sure that they were being treated like they were part of my family. And in doing so, I just became very customer service oriented and always have been for as long as I've been in this business. But that was a huge lesson for me starting out in real estate was it wasn't just about how many sales, it was about how many people I could serve in the industry. And that mindset has carried me through to this day.
Love it, love it. And it's a mindset of serving others, and I
Yes,
think that's very important. And what you say is so important because a lot of people, like definitely, when it comes to sales, when it comes to doing the right research and prospecting to get the actual leads is of course very important, when it comes to scale, but when it comes to actually providing the right service and everything follows is a very healthy mindset to have because it's at the end of the day like the most important base you can actually build your business on. So
it
I
really
definitely agree
is.
on that.
And I mean, even to this day, really what I think about every day when I start my day is how many people do I get to, or how many people can I help today? How many people do I get to help today? And I've always treated this business as that mindset of I get to help people, I get to help their families, I get to improve the quality of their lives, whether I'm selling them a home or helping them list and sell their property and moving on with the next stage of their lives, or whether it's training a real estate professional or coaching a real estate franchise owner, whatever it may be, it's always about how can I help more people today. That's what drives me every day.
Absolutely love it. And if you can give us a little bit of perspective just for the people who are watching this video to kind of understand a little bit more of what you're doing today. How did you went through the actual starting point, starting the actual real estate industry
Sure.
to get to the point that you're now like literally coaching and leading a lot of franchises worldwide at this point?
Yeah, so after about 16 years of selling real estate full time, I got to a point in my career where I was at another crossroads. And so I guess I was about 40 years old at the time. And I really was looking for a change in my life. I had young kids at home. My kids were, little. And I realized at that point that I felt like I was missing their childhood. I was working, as most realtors do, around the clock. I was working weekends. And I just got to a point where I was looking to make a change. I wanted to do something where I could stay in the business that I knew and that I loved and that I felt like I was good at, but I had kind of lost my passion for selling houses. I had become a top producing agent at Realty One Group. I was selling over 100 houses a year, and it was great. It was lucrative, but I wasn't really having fun with it anymore. And so I was looking for a new challenge, a new opportunity, and I heard or I saw an ad actually that Realty One Group was looking for a new branch manager, someone to run one of their offices. And the but I kind of took this crazy step of just reaching out to one of the people that I knew who was managing one of the offices. And it wasn't like I wasn't applying for the job. I just really wanted to go pick his brain and learn what the job was because I didn't really fully understand what it meant to be a branch manager. And so I went and I called him up and I said, "Hey, can I come pick your brain about this job opening?" And he said, "Yeah, absolutely." And so I went and I met with him and he told me all about the job, what the day entailed, and I'm like, "Sounds like, a fun job, definitely something that I would consider doing." And he said to me, he goes, "It's so interesting that you reached out to me because the job that we're looking for is to replace me." He was actually being moved up into a different position and he had already interviewed, he said like 35 people and couldn't seem to find the right person to fit the job. And he said, "And here you are sitting in my office, and you're the perfect person for the job." And I said to him, "Well, I don't even know if I want the job. Like, I'm not here applying for the job. I was just curious to see what it is. And he goes, no, you need to apply for the job. I think you'd be the perfect person. And so I applied for the job. I had the opportunity to then interview with Pat Kelly, who's our president of brokerage operations. We had a great conversation. We then met in person. And then Kuba, who's the CEO and founder of the company, called me up because I had been one of his top producing agents for a number of years. And he called me up and he basically said, like, what the heck are you doing? Like, why are you applying for this broker job? And I said, honestly, Kuba, I'm just looking for a change. Like, I need a change of, activities. I'm looking for some new goals. I want to, stretch myself a little bit. I want to change in my schedule. And so he said, let's give it a shot. And so he actually hired me on as the branch manager of one of his offices in Las Vegas, Nevada. We had about 300 agents at the time. And so I went from being a pretty good producing agent to, having a small real estate team to now running an office of 300 agents. And so I had to learn very quickly on the job. And again, that's where training became so important because I was able to lean into the other broker owners or broker managers that were in that market at the time and really kind of learn the job while I was doing the job. But that really evolved into me running offices for Cuba for a number of years. And then about maybe a year and a half later, he actually asked me to take over an office in San Diego, California. And we relocated my family down to San Diego, which is where we still are to this day, and continued to run offices. Ultimately, was running the San Diego region for him. And then in 2018, Kuba and Mike Clear, our chief operating officer, took me aside and said, we want to try something different. We are looking to develop a coaching department at Realty One Group, and we'd like you to actually take over and lead that coaching department. They knew my passion for coaching and mentoring real estate professionals, and they thought I would be the right person for that job. And so, pretty much since January of 2018, I've been in this new role where I'm now overseeing the coaching and training for Realty One Group. And since then, the company has gone through some different evolutions. And so now I'm actually more focused on coaching, developing our broker owners and our master franchise owners. And we have a coaching department that works on really developing our real estate professionals. So it's been an incredible journey over the last 10 years. And actually, August of this past year was my 10-year anniversary with Realty One Group as an
Oh,
employee, 14 years as a real estate professional.
wow, love it. Congratulations, man. And
Thank you.
just it's very, very interesting that you're talking about all of this because like there's way too many important things, way too much value, way too many gems that you can actually provide from starting as a real estate agent, from
Hmm.
becoming a top producer, doing over 100 deals a year, doing like actually coaching so many hundreds of agents. Like there's a lot of value in this conversation for everyone seeing like watching us right now,
I
even there
appreciate
are
that.
agents, even they are like leaders from groups or franchises or offices. So I want to kind of give it a little bit of because if not, we're going to stay here like all day, and because
Right.
there's a ton of value. But maybe when it comes to the agent, because as you know, there are a lot of agents nowadays, which is very, very good because there's a lot of people actually falling into this industry, and that's
Yes.
something that I love it definitely. But uh most of them are definitely struggling. So what would you say maybe are some of the most important factors, like for example, inputs when it comes to the agents right now who are definitely struggling? And I talk about like these kind of things with agents every day when they're telling me, Jay, I'm definitely struggling to get, like more than 3 deals a month, more than
Right.
5 deals a month. Is just like kind of feels insane. It depends of the agent. It's something, of course, because there are a lot of them who are like literally struggling to do 3 deals a year, and there are
Yes.
some who are struggling to do like 30 deals a year. So what would you say maybe are some of the key factors you would see in an agent, or you would teach an agent to actually move forward when it comes to this path as a real estate agent and becoming a top?
Yeah, I mean, it's such an important question because I know that real estate agents everywhere, especially in the last couple of years, I think have really struggled to find business and to maintain a healthy business. And what I typically teach agents to do and what I've done for many, many years because I just think it's the most consistent source of business is to really develop a healthy and strong sphere of influence. I think that it's so important. We call it a database, sphere of influence, circle of influence, whatever you want to call it. I think that you've got to have really strong relationships with a large number of people that you cultivate over a period of time. And I think that that comes back to the whole customer service aspect of this business. But if you will build those relationships and then maintain those relationships, which is really the harder part, because I think a lot of us meet
Yeah.
people consistently, but we don't really develop those long-term relationships with them. But what
Yeah.
you find and what I found in my career and what I've taught so many agents to do over the last 26 years is you've got to have relationships that you cultivate over time because those relationships become the pipeline of your business. And so if you maintain those relationships, you never really know when they or someone that they know is thinking about buying or selling a home. And you always want to be that go-to person. You always want to stay top of mind so that they're always sending you those referral opportunities. And if you can do that with consistency, what ends up happening is that your business just naturally stays consistent. And I mean, it sounds simple, and it is, but it's not hard, it's not easy to do. And so what we encourage agents to do is really utilize systems in order to do that. And so I think that the cornerstone of any successful real estate professional is that you utilize some type of CRM, some type of client relationship management software, because it's impossible for any of us to keep track of all those relationships or to stay in touch with all those people without some type of system or process. And I know that a lot of real estate professionals will use something like a spreadsheet or something like that, and I think that's okay. But the spreadsheet, what it lacks is the ability to automate the process or to send you reminders. And so, I'm a huge proponent of using systems to build those relationships because what I have found, without exception, is that agents that have a strong database and work that database consistently do more business consistently year after year than those that do not. And so I think that that's critical for an agent's success. And I've taught this for years to real estate professionals, but I think everyone in your sphere of influence needs to be on what I call a 30 touch campaign, which means that they're getting some type of communication from you, seeing your name, associating it with real estate all year round, consistently year after year. And what that does is it builds that brand awareness, that recognition. And as a result, you start to get these inbound leads that come to you, these people that call you and say, I have a friend or a family member that's thinking about listing their house, or I have someone that needs help buying a home, and those leads just consistently come to you. And so that 30 touch campaign, really what it entails is a newsletter once a month, a market update once a month. And so that's 24 touches right there. I encourage everyone to do some type of quarterly communication, a direct communication with their sphere. So that might be a phone call, that might be a text message, that might be an engagement through a social media platform, but some type of one-to-one conversation with them that gets you to 28 touches. And then if you send them a birthday card and some type of holiday card, you're at 30 touches. And really what that works out to is 2 to 3 times a month. They're seeing your name, they're associating it with real estate, and it's impossible for that sphere of influence to forget that you're in real estate or that you're the go-to professional in their market or in their farm or their area of their neighborhood, whatever that may be. But that really is the tried and true method that I've taught for years, and I still think it holds true to this day.
Something what you just say is very, very important, and is that simple scales, fancy fails. And to this day, like there's actually way too many tools like CRMs and things like Zapier or Make.com and all this kind of stuff, where it makes it so much simpler to actually get in touch with people. For example, in
Yes.
myself, I have systems in place to actually send a message to my sphere of influence like every
Hmm.
single month. And there's actually one message where it's like, hey, let's go to grab a coffee. Like literally, there's this message, and I learned that from the book Referral: Living the Good Life from Ryan Buffini,
Hmm.
and I thought that was amazing because like there's this chapter which is called "Partying Your Way to Success," and I just thought about that, and it's definitely about building relationships. It's definitely about,
Absolutely.
definitely like meeting people and stay in touch with people and building genuine relationships where you can lead with value,
Yes.
and lead with value and always try to provide as much value as you can. and not in the quote unquote like following up, but actually building relationships. So what you just say,
Yes.
I just think is so important for the agents nowadays to actually understand the power of relationships, and in all the sense. Like for example, right now we're in here in Ecuador with the actual franchises. We have a couple people who are interested in starting a franchise this year that is coming, and the power of relationships once again is showing itself, because
Hmm.
there are a couple of people who are the investors right now for the actual franchise opening, and the office and all the good stuff.
Right.
And the other person is just a real estate agent who have the knowledge, but happens to actually meet this person who is the investor.
Right.
So that's how they actually are going to build a business, and
Yeah.
that's the power of relationship, definitely.
It becomes a great partnership because of the relationship, and that then becomes something that they can expand upon, and really grow into something special. And I think that agents need to understand that in order to have a good, healthy sphere of influence, it's relationship based, but you have to create those relationships to begin with. And so it's about
Yep.
creating them and then maintaining them. And so I also encourage real estate professionals that they have multiple methods of creating new relationships all year round. And so
Yep.
that may be an online lead generation platform. That may be direct mail campaigns to a neighborhood that you're farming. It may be networking groups. I mean, I encourage agents to have, I always equate it to fishing for whatever reason. And so I feel like when you're
Yeah.
fishing, if you have multiple lines in the water, you have a higher chance of catching fish than if you just have one line with one type of bait. And so I feel
Yeah.
like for real estate professionals, you've got to have multiple lines in the water at all times. And that's just bringing you in all types of new relationships that you can then build, and every one of those people goes into your sphere of influence and you just cultivate those relationships over time. That's really, I wish that there was a button that you're, like a get rich quick scheme that you could do in real estate, but my opinion is it's just these long-term strategies that ultimately allow you to build that steady flow of business that keeps you consistent and gets you off of what we call the roller coaster ride of, I have business, I have transactions, and then I have no business, and building it back up again. If you want to have
Mhm.
that steady income stream in real estate, this is really the best way to do it. At least from my experience, that's what I've seen work year after year.
Yeah, definitely. And something that what you just say is so important as well is because, like, for example, I personally just love the power of, digital
Hmm.
solutions when it comes to getting leads and social media and all that good stuff. And for example, there was this listing that we got, like, I literally got it in 2 days. I just put out an ad. The next day I have a couple of people, leads from the
Hmm.
online social media from Facebook, and one of them like just told me, all right, yeah, just come to see my house and all that good stuff. And I went and I got a listing for $750,000. Um, and
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. And I was like just impressed when it comes to the power of building genuine relationships, because with the person right there, like I was talking with him and I was like actually building a relationship. And now to this day, he's still like he's very religious, so he sent me a lot of prayers and all that good stuff,
Hmm.
like almost every day, like still to this day. That was like a year ago. And I'm very happy for that, because that actually means that we have an actual relationship. And of
Yes.
course, when he thinks about uh some like, or when some friend of him like actually needs some kind of help with real estate or selling a home or buying a home, like the first person who comes into his mind is definitely my number. So uh,
Yes.
that's very, very important of what you just said.
And I think, Jade, something that you and I probably have in common is when we look at building relationships with people, it's not a business strategy. Like we're genuinely interested in those people and their lives. And I think taking that genuine interest in them and their families, and when you do connect with them, that you have real conversations with them, I think that people can tell if you're being sincere or if it's just a business call. And so I think that you've got to be genuine and sincere in your conversations with people because that is truly how you build relationships, real relationships.
Yeah, you just said it right there, and it's definitely like just come from the positioning of actually helping and providing with value is
Right.
definitely very important. Something I've noticed a lot of with you, Mark, is that definitely you have this. I wouldn't say this in a, yeah, it's kind of like an advantage, but you have like this, you're very good with people, like people, and it's because of this, because you actually build some genuine relationships, and that's amazing. But at the same time, I've noticed that at the, you're always learning, like you're always,
Yes.
there's a ton of points that you have said when we're on the actual, base camp and the summit, and I'm like, holy, like Jesus, I definitely saw that from a book, and I connect the dots. And what's maybe your curiosity when it comes to, always learning, or always being able as an open book to keep growing your mindset, your, leadership skills, your selling skills, and all the good stuff. Maybe how did it come? Is your just natural curiosity, or how is it?
I think that's part of it. I think that I'm always looking to get better. Like I'm always trying to find ways to improve myself. And as a parent, I'm always looking for ways that I can be better to my family, to my wife, to my children. And so it's just an internal drive that I think I've always had, that I just want to learn more. I always want to know more. I also, for better or for worse, really pride myself on being self-sufficient. It's not that I don't like asking for help, but I like to be able
Resourceful.
I like to be able to solve my own problems as much as I can. Sometimes that's a weakness, but for me, it's worked out to be predominantly a strength. And so, I'm also, can be a little bit stubborn. And so, for me, it's just about like I like to know the answers. And so I'm always seeking information. I'm a sponge for information and data. And so I think that's just how I'm built.
Hmm. I actually identify myself like the same way. And there's, this aging era where like some people, are talking about, yeah, I don't have like this knowledge, or I don't have like these resources. And I always think about something that a mentor once taught me, and was like, it's never a lack of resources, it's always a lack of resourcefulness. So
Absolutely.
I definitely connect with that. And when it comes to all this knowledge that you have been acquired over the years, and all this coaching that you have been giving to all the real estate agents of the, worldwide at this point, what are your thoughts on the training on these people? How you approach, training different kind of mindsets, different kind of cultures? Like recently we just were in the base camp, and
Mhm.
it's very astonishing to me to, sit next to the guy who have like 1,300 agents, and
Yes.
he was just like a mindset beast. And I talked with him, and Derek Carlson, so shout out to you if
Yes.
you're watching this. And I was just like, wow, that's just amazing. I love his mindset. But at the same time, I'm talking with some people, and they're definitely working towards their goal, and that's amazing. But at the same time, what would you say maybe is your training philosophy when it comes to, training someone like Derek, or training someone like me, who I'm definitely doing things, and I'm very happy with that, but definitely not satisfied, but still working very, very hard to improve. What would you say maybe is your training philosophy when it comes to training us in a base camp, for example?
I mean, I think you kind of just hit it. It's never being satisfied. I feel like you always have to be open to the idea that there's another way or another perspective, or that you can do more or better or become more efficient or impact more people in some way. And so anytime I'm doing any type of training or development of, an individual that's as successful as Derek, or a brand new licensee that's just getting into the real estate industry, or a franchise owner that just came on board with Realty One Group and is looking to establish their business and has never run a brokerage before, is to me, a lot of it is mindset and attitude. I mean, that really is the fundamental for me. Is I need to I need to understand kind of who they are, what their personality style is, but then I also need to understand how I can help them develop that mindset and that attitude of wanting more, and going after more, and being um, optimistic about the opportunities. I think that it's so easy for us in this industry to get frustrated or beaten down by market conditions or the struggles that we go through, because it is a tough business. It's not an easy business to get started in or even to maintain in, and market conditions, can really affect our successes. But for me, I think it's just maintaining that attitude and that mindset that there is a way. There's always a way. That's one thing that I was able to do as a real estate professional and even as a broker, manager, and owner of franchises is I'm always looking at the opportunities that exist in any market. And there are always opportunities in every market. I don't think that you can allow yourself to get into a negative mindset or a negative tailspin where you just throw your hands up and say, this is impossible, or there's no way to solve this problem. I believe there's always a way, there's always an opportunity. And I think that if you focus on those opportunities, it changes your attitude, it changes your mindset. And I think that that's what I always try to really lead with when I'm doing any type of training program is where's the opportunity and how can we go get it and what do we need to do to make sure that we are able to capture as much of that opportunity that exists. There's a wonderful quote by one of my favorite coaches, which is Dr. Eric Thomas. He says you have to take advantage of the opportunity of a lifetime and the lifetime of the opportunity. And I think that for all of us, we always have to identify what are those opportunities. They may be a limited window that we have to take advantage of them. And so we have to be ready for them, but we also have to be open to them. Like our mindset, our attitude has to be see it as an opportunity, not as an obstacle or not as an impossibility, but really move in that direction. And I think that that's something I try to bring to the table with everything that I do.
I definitely love that, Mark. When it comes to something that what you just say is way too important, and is that I honestly think that real estate nowadays is still an opportunity, a big opportunity. Of course, you have his, you know, ups and downs like every single
Yes.
industry, but I just think like there's something about real estate that, as we all can see, is always growing as long as you put the inputs, as long as you put the work, is it's just
Yes.
going to be definitely a a career path, which is like, it's proven. And when it comes to the opportunity and the lifetime of the opportunity, I just think that nowadays, when it comes to actually starting an actual office, starting a franchise,
Hmm.
that's just something that I definitely have been talking about with, the new franchisees that we have right here in Ecuador,
Right.
and with franchisees in general, is that I have never met a single one who is not happy about the decision that they made when it comes to grabbing the
Yes.
opportunity and taking the opportunity of actually starting an office, and connecting with people. Definitely comes with a lot of risks, but at the end of the day it comes with so much rewards, not just in the financial sense, but also with the people they are leading, with the people they
Yes.
know they are actually helping. And something that has struck me as well is the mindset of Realty One when it comes to connecting, when it comes to culture, mostly
Mhm.
care, for example, within the 6 Cs. And what would you say, or maybe how did Realty One maybe connect with you when you started? Like, what made you decide to go to Realty One? And the story that you share about enrolling, the family, like I was just I was just blown away about that. But what made you decide to connect with Realty One at the moment, and
Mhm.
maybe and staying with Realty One when you started?
Yeah, I mean, I joined Realty One back in 2010 as a real estate agent. So I was selling real estate at that point for about 12 years. And again, the market was going through a difficult transition. It was the Great Recession. And really what I was looking for was a brokerage where I'm a big believer in support and systems and training and resources. And so I was at a company that had all of that, but it didn't have a great fee structure. And so I was at a time in my career where I was looking at every commission, every transaction as precious. And so I was really looking for a brokerage that um, what it didn't I wasn't prepared to sacrifice those things. I needed the support, I needed the training, I needed great offices. I wanted a knowledgeable broker that I could go to with my questions. I wanted full service. And so I was really looking for something that in my mind almost didn't exist. And it was this perfect environment where you could get all this full service and full support, but also keep more of what you earned. And I kept seeing Realty One Group. I remember when Realty One Group opened its doors in 2005 in Las Vegas, which is where I was selling real estate at the time. And I think for a lot of us, we really kind of looked at it as um, something that wouldn't last. It just didn't seem like it was a sustainable model at the time. And yet, year after year, Kuba continued to grow the company and attract more real estate professionals and more top producing agents. And so by the time I was thinking about making that change, I knew of Realty One Group. I kind of knew what they had to offer, but so much of it was rumors, and their competitors were always saying negative things about them, of course, to try to keep you from going over there. But I finally went in and I interviewed with the broker at the time, and he went through everything with me. He laid it all out for me and really kind of explained that you can have the best of both worlds at Realty One Group. And because I am a analytical person, I basically said there's got to be a catch. That doesn't make there's no way that a brokerage could offer this, and so I made the foolish decision of waiting about 3 months before I decided to join him, and then I really got something in my head where I was like, I need to go have another conversation. I went and I met with a broker again, and I said, go through it with me one more time, and he laid it all out for me. It was like we were having an interview all over again, and I said, I'm in. I said, I'm in. And so I joined the company back in August of 2010. And it was because of those things. It was because I was looking for a brokerage that truly offered the best of both worlds. It was where you could, as the expression goes, you could have your cake and eat it too. And so I really wanted a brokerage where there was no sacrifice. And what I found was that most brokerages that offered full service, they were expensive. We were paying a lot of fees to those brokerages. And the ones that were lower fee or lower cost, you were sacrificing the support and the resources and the knowledgeable broker in your corner and all the things that I expected from a brokerage. And so at Realty One Group, it was what I've heard agents say to me for the last 14 years, which is, I wish I had done this sooner. And that was me. I moved over to Realty One Group, and within a few months, I was so much happier and so much more successful, and I was able to build my business as a result of it. But I think that that's what makes Realty One Group so special as an organization and so unique in our industry is I don't really think that there's anyone that does it quite the way we do it. And whether it's the culture or the care or the coaching or any of the 6 C's, I think that at the end of the day, we have figured out something that no one else has figured out, which is agents can have full service and keep more of what they earn on every precious transaction. And I think that because we've perfected that process so well at our brokerage, we were able to successfully start franchising that model. And we've done that now around the world. And it continues to grow at an incredibly rapid pace. But I think that's what makes us so unique as an organization. And I think that that's what continues to attract people to us and why people continue to say, I wish I had done this sooner. Because I've never gotten tired of hearing that the phrase from agents that have joined us or even broker owners that join us, because even broker owners that join us, most of them have never run a brokerage before. But when they see all the support and the tools and the training and the resources that we provide them to make them successful and the investment that we make and their success, not financially, but time investment and effort and training that we invest and their success, it's just so apparent to me that they've are like you said, they're so happy that they made the decision. And so that's I think what really has separated us from everyone else. I hope that answered your question.
It definitely is, and there's just way too many things when it comes to Realty One, like being the difference, and it's because of the coaching, the support, because of the 6 C's, because everything of this, and it's definitely something that in Ecuador and I think worldwide, honestly. And when it comes to, international, it's
Hmm.
just amazing when it comes to the culture. Like, I just love being in the base camp. I just love being in the summit. I love being with Realty One people everywhere in the world. And
Yes.
when it comes to Ecuador, I think that we have been working very, very hard to, to keep to maintain the culture that we saw in the US when we go through all these experiences. And it's just amazing. For example, and shout out to you, Danny, if you're watching this, but for example, Danny,
Yes.
when we met Danny, it was like how do they hire these people? Like they go through literally some kind we were thinking like some kind of culture test or something like that, because Danny's just like awesome. We definitely love
Yes.
Danny.
Danny Hernandez is one of my favorite people on the planet.
Yeah,
Just an
me too.
amazing
Yeah.
heart, like just
Yeah.
an amazing heart and such a good person. But yeah, I mean, I think really hats off to Cuba. I mean, because at the end of the day, Cuba has surrounded himself with like-minded people, people that all have this same mindset and this goal of helping others be successful. And it was intentional, and I think that he really has assembled an incredible team of people, and we're all thrilled to be a part of it. So I think it's just an amazing organization that translates out to all of our franchise owners, all of our broker managers, all of our real estate professionals. And one of the things that I love about our organization and especially the events that we do, whether it's Summit or Base Camp, or anything that we do where we come together, is the level of collaboration that we provide as an organization. I think that our
Yeah.
whole network is very driven by the idea of sharing and helping each other and collaborating with each other. That's something, I mean, I truly think that that is what our culture at Realty One Group, is this idea of sharing and collaborating, because we all do it at such a high level. And I've never experienced that at any other brokerage. And I've been with other major brands in my real estate career. I've never seen the level of sharing and collaboration that goes on at this company.
That's so important. And actually, like this morning, I was talking with a group of agents, and I was literally telling them, like, because they were asking me like Jay, why you always share so much when it comes to,
Mhm.
providing this much value and all of this good stuff. And I was very glad and honored for what they were saying. But I was like definitely telling me, because your success is my success, and we're not
Exactly.
in the era of the competition. Like, we're here to actually support each other. We're in the era of collaboration, and
Yes.
I definitely
We
think
all win. We all win together.
that
That's really the mindset.
that's literally the culture. That's literally the culture. And I was very very happy and honored of what we were talking, and just to glimpse a little bit more when it comes to the actual to the technology that Realty One is doing nowadays, because there's like a ton of things that Realty One has been from corporate have is working, and we have been seeing, and we as well
Mhm.
are working very very hard to give as much tools as we can when it comes to
Yes.
technology. What are your Where do you see maybe the real estate industry going when it comes to technology, maybe the next couple of years, or maybe the next 20 years?
I mean, I think AI has become a huge topic of conversation, not just in real estate, but in many industries. But I really believe that the utilization of AI is going to be a big component for real estate professionals as a whole, for our industry. What I also firmly believe is that it will never replace the real estate professional. I think that because, as we talked earlier, this is so much of a relationship business. It's so much about trust that I don't think that an interface of some type is going to replace what we do for our home buyers and sellers, or for our broker owners or our franchise owners. I think that relationships will always be there. But what I do believe is that AI will allow us to create greater efficiencies in the way we do things. It creates more opportunities. And I firmly believe that real estate professionals, especially, that learn to utilize AI, to learn to take advantage of the resources that it can provide them at little to no cost, will allow
Yeah,
their businesses to leapfrog the success of their competitors that choose not to embrace the tools. Um,
yeah,
I think that's always been the case with technology, is real estate agents that embrace technology tend to do more business than those that don't, because it's about having better systems and greater efficiency. But really, the ability for AI to create content, scripts, marketing campaigns, tutorials, things that agents would sometimes never be able to develop on their own, or in their careers, or have to pay someone else to do for them, that they can now do on their own and implement in their businesses. And I mean, the step-by-step processes that the AI platforms can provide to real estate professional. I mean, I think the phrase game changer gets overused in our industry, but I really believe that AI is one of those things that really has changed the game. And I think that we're just getting started with the possibilities there. And so I think that that's probably the biggest technology trend that we're going to see in the next several years, is real estate agents that are embracing AI and using it in their businesses to improve their overall value proposition to their customers.
I definitely there's something very key that what you just said, and it's something that I actually absolutely love, and it's that there's this phrase, or there's a lot of people, thinking that AI is going to replace the real estate agent. And what I actually respond to that is that AI is not going to replace the actual real estate agent. What AI is doing is that the agents who are using AI are going to replace the agents who are not using it. So
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
think is AI definitely works when it comes to, building leverage, when it comes to actually building your brand, doing
Yes.
so many things. And when it comes to the Hispanic market, for example,
Hmm.
literally is in diapers is the best way I can describe it. Like, is in diapers, and there's a ton of people who are I am actually talking like every single day when it comes to AI and applying it to real
Hmm.
estate for our agents to be at the top of their game. And that makes me actually wonder, maybe what are your thoughts when it comes to the Hispanic market, when it comes to the uh, real estate industry, which is kind of crazy because the Hispanic market is not in the best place right now, but at the same time, there's a lot of offer on the Hispanic market, and there's
Hmm.
still a lot of people actually, buying and selling. And as real estate, it never slows down. It definitely never sleeps. So,
Right.
what are your thoughts on when it comes to the
I
growing of
mean,
the real estate in the
I
Hispanic
can
industry?
tell you in the US, the Hispanic market is the fastest growing pool of home buyers and home ownership in
Mm.
the country. And so I think that that's exciting. I think that that's a real opportunity for more and more Hispanic home ownership in the US. And I think that we know that home ownership is one of the most consistent ways to build wealth in not only in America, but around the world. And so we encourage everyone to get into home ownership of some type, whether it's investing or primary residences. So I think that there's a great future for the Hispanic market. And I think that so many of our real estate professionals are servicing this market in various capacities around the world. And so I think that there's tons of opportunity there. There's organizations that we support like NAREP that we've invested more and more time and resources with because we believe in this market and the opportunity that exists there. And we want to be a part of that growth. And so I think that there's tremendous opportunity there.
Yeah, yeah, definitely love it. And also even like the Hispanic real estate agents, Hispanic realtors who are coming right now to the US.
Yes.
Like I know a lot of them, and they're so happy to know that they actually happen to be on this, category where they can actually help a lot of Hispanic people. And
Oh, yes.
yeah, so it's very, very it's beautiful at this point.
Yeah.
And
And I think that what we're seeing is that so many real estate professionals are recognizing that this is such a rapidly growing demographic in the industry of future homeowners that there's more and more investment of time and energy into helping them become homeowners. I mean, and so much of what we provide through our One University platform is Spanish language content as well, because we want to help our real estate professionals be able to learn at the same pace as everyone else. And so there's just so many resources that they can tap into.
yeah, definitely. And we're working very, very hard to definitely deliver a lot of value when it comes to the Hispanic market.
Certainly.
And Mark, what would you say are, just to wrap this up, and because I know that you have a couple of meetings after this,
Sure.
and uh, what is your vision when it comes to the legacy that you're leaving when it comes to Realty One? I definitely think that, and something that actually is, I don't know, it may be a little bit sentimental to think about, but we already know each other for a couple of years when we actually
Hmm.
met, in California, because we
Hmm.
went there and thought about starting with Realty One.
Yes,
And I hope like to keep working in this together like for the next 5, 10, 20 years. It will be
absolutely.
pretty nostalgic actually if we think about this. But what is your vision when it comes to the legacy that you're actually creating with Realty One when it comes to the real estate market in the real estate industry, and for all the people like me who are franchises
Hmm.
and helping a lot of people, but definitely see your legacy in what you're doing, and definitely feel inspired about doing the same for the Hispanic market and worldwide.
Um, I mean, legacy is such an interesting thing because I don't know that you can necessarily control it. I think it's more about the impact that you have on others. And so for me, I hope that the legacy that I leave from this industry and my time with Realty One Group is the positive impact on the quality of the lives of the people I've touched. And so that's really what motivates me and drives me every day is I want to have a lasting positive impact on the quality of people's lives. And so whether that is a real estate professional that I've helped develop their career and that has a ripple effect on the quality of their family's life and their customers' lives, or whether it's a franchise owner and helping them develop a new business and ultimately getting to a point where, as so many of them have desired to do, is get out of that full-time production of selling homes and actually be a business owner and operator, and collect a salary from that business and the impact that that has on them and their families' lives and their agents' lives. And so, or even in your case and others around the world that are master franchise owners that are developing regions and the quality of the, what I bring to that table and how I can help you guys grow and be more successful and that ripple effect. That's really the legacy that I hope to leave on this industry and this one family that we have at Realty One Group is that I'm able to really have a positive impact on the quality of people's lives. That's really what motivates me and drives me every day. And I hope that the efforts that I make on a daily basis are felt in some way in a positive way on our customers because that's really what gets me out of bed every day and keeps me working long hours is I'm driven to help impact as many people as I can. So I would say impact is probably the legacy that I hope to leave.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Mark, I definitely thank you for this time. I
My
respect your
pleasure.
time, and I definitely think that all this work that you're doing and as corporate and Realty One International is definitely doing that, is impacting tons of lives worldwide.
I hope
And
so.
I definitely thank you for this moment to pick a little bit of your brain right now. As I was saying, like we can stay here like
Oh yeah, we could
days.
keep talking.
Definitely, definitely. So thank you
Thank
very
you
much,
for the
Mark.
opportunity. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Mark, for this moment. And yeah, like let's do this again because there's a
Sounds
ton of
good.
value that we can definitely provide to a lot of
Okay,
people.
you got it.
Awesome. Thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Jay.